And I was very lost and very alone, and I was like on like day 6 or something of being lost. I don't remember. No, it wasn't that long of a solo. But I was lost and I was scared. And I was in a
How
hammock.
did you get lost?
Well, as soon as you leave the river, like you could literally walk 15 feet and then be like, I'm just going to come right back. And the jungle will like Blair Witch you. Because it's all green. So you just like think you know what you're doing. Just last week, I took people, I wanted to cross from one trail to another trail. And I was like, I'm a guide, I can do this. And I came back out on the same trail like a half hour later. And I was like, yep, that's what I meant to do. Let's go. And like, happens to JJ all the time.
Really?
You cannot find your way in the
Do
jungle.
you use a compass?
Don't use a compass.
Why not?
Because actually, apparently, some of the iron content and some of the saps in the trees pulls the needle. It doesn't work really well. Like,
Even the trees are trying to trick you. Oh my God.
GPSs run out of batteries. You know, it's like you really just you have to learn your bushcraft. You have to learn how to navigate in the jungle, and it's like which is pretty much you have to get just amazing at dead reckoning and remembering your course, because it's so dense that like we play with people. We go, we'll go see if you can go from here to there. And it's like they can't go there. They can't do that as soon as you leave the river. So like I had gone out on this solo, gotten lost, gotten scared, and then been like, oh shit, what if I just like into the wilded myself? What if now I'm gonna be the next kid that went and died in the Amazon? And like I like slept in the hammock, but this is like as I was learning, so I didn't realize that the hammock that I had bought had a mosquito net on top, but the back was not mosquito proof, so they could stick through. So my back was being destroyed by mosquitoes as I'm trying to sleep, and like a couple of nights of that. And so I finally fall asleep, and I wake up in the middle of the night, and I hear breathing right next to my face, and I like wanted to turn my headlamp on, and I just hear like right here, like I could feel her breath, and I was like 6 inches away from a jaguar's face, and she just like and then left, and she just came in. She wanted to see what that was. She was like, you're not going to move. That's what you're not going to do. She growled like right into my ear, and then later on. But that one's cute, though. That's a cute picture. That's a cute jag.
Wow. And they vary in colors and the spots and everything, right? Like some of them are much darker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, actually somebody recently was like, where do you see panthers? And I went on this whole thing of like, a leopard or a jaguar, just like you can have albinos, you have a melanistic one. Yeah.
Wow.
So like people would call that a panther, but a panther's not a real. There's no animal that's a panther. It's like a Kleenex. It's like it's just another name for it.
That is so beautiful.
But a black
Look
jag.
at that thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, in South India they have the black leopards.
What an amazing looking animal.
Look at the muscles.
Yeah, it's an amazing killing machine. And so humans don't get taken out by them?
I can only really speak for our region of the Amazon, but I haven't even heard a story about it.
Really?
Like no one. Our jags are just, we have like record numbers of jags. Like I think they're listed as near threatened, and we have like some of the strongest remaining jaguar populations in the world. It's incredible.
And
like
you barely see them.
We barely see them. The last one I saw was 2 years ago. And some people like go their whole lives without seeing them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because people walk off into the jungle and they don't realize. People, it's so funny living in the wild and seeing people show up there. And it's like people come and they're like, they smell like shampoo and cologne and bug spray and deodorant. And they're just like, if to an animal that has such better senses than we do, they might as well just have like sirens on them. And like you are this shiny, glittering foghorn of attention in the jungle, and like every animal is going to run away from you. And so people are always like, how come you go out and you see so much stuff? And it's like, I only shower in the river. I live out in the jungle. I smell like they do. Like I'm out there for weeks, and it's like I'm not going and like shampooing my hair. It's like, and so like to these animals, like they know when you're coming. Like a jag's just going to be like, oh, there's a human there.
Do you wash with soap when you wash in the river?
I do use a biodegradable soap. You have to keep your skin clean or else you just get infections. But like for the most part, like my clothing, everything, like I don't use anything that's scented because of that, because I want to be out there and just blend in. And that's whether I'm out in the field with elephants or whether you're out in Africa or India or whether you're in the Amazon. I want to be sort of like included. I want to blend in. And so like not that long ago, I was checking a camera trap, and I thought it was we had students at our research station at the time, and I heard like the leaves going like, and it was like September, so the jungle was dry. And I turned around and I was going to scare this person because I was going to be like, who walks that loud in the jungle? Like, you have no respect. And I turned around with my finger up, and this jag walked right by me on the trail and just went, what's up? And just kept walking. And I was like, finger up. And I was like, okay.
Oh, Lord.
But I took that as good because at least I was, my like scent trail was so that he didn't know I was there. I could see it on his face. He didn't care. He was like, hey. But I mean, he was 6 feet away. He didn't even break his stride. He just walked by me and was like, yo, what's up?
They don't think of you as food, so they just keep moving.
No, and I think they're, with big cats, they're the mothers teach the young how to hunt, and I think they're so oriented, like with tigers, they're so oriented on horizontal, get the neck from underneath, break the neck from up top. And it's like when they see a vertical animal walking by, I think they're like, first of all, I don't know what this is. Second of all, it smells weird. Third of all, where do I even, you got to be desperate to take that risk. I don't think that lions are a different story, but with jags, with tigers, with leopards, I've never ever felt any fear being around a jaguar, like any fear. I don't even take pictures of them. I just enjoy it.
Wow.
I let other people take pictures. If I'm with people, I'll let them take pictures, but I will not lift my camera for a jag. I'll just stand there and just
take it in.
Yeah. You get to see them so rarely. I don't want to sit there finally seeing one and then put another screen in front of my face.
Right.
Look through some glass. Like,
whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our camera.
They've started them. That's from yours?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That is so majestic. What an amazing animal. With glowing eyes.
Well, that's the crazy thing. You shine your headlamp into the night, and then when things look back at you, you got to wonder what it is. It's like,
well, when there's two eyes in the front, it's
two eyes in the front, yeah. But sometimes the deer, but then the jags do this thing where they move their head like this. They try and see around your headlamp. They'll like do this little side to side thing. Like the deer, they'll just blink at you. They'll just blink, and so you start learning the eye shines. You start learning the. Because then you can be out there at night and you look at something and people are like, oh shit, dude, it's a jag. And it's like, no, it's a deer.
When you were saying that the uncontacted tribe were speaking in monkey calls, what are they doing?
So JJ's dad used to tell us, he said, if you're ever out in the forest and something doesn't sound right, he was like, get out of there. And he was like, because they will use the tinamou calls, like the undulated tinamou is like, but like we know what that sounds like, but we also know what it doesn't sound like. And so like every now and then you'll hear one that's, different. And like we all get freaked out because we're like, that's how we do it. That's how JJ taught me to do it. Like if there was a bunch of tourists right there and JJ wanted me to come over and like chill with him and we wanted to go hang, he would just do that and get my attention. And like I know that it's not a tinamou, I know it's JJ. And so it's like they've taken that to a whole nother level where they can communicate. And so there was a group of guys who was upriver and they got surrounded. They heard monkey calls coming from different directions, and they realized that they were completely surrounded. And they, like at least one of the guys who was telling it to me, he got in the water and like crawled like a turtle and like escaped. And then the tribe showed up, and then there was this whole showdown where they actually shot one of the community members, and then one of the guys who knows some of their language was saying that it looked like they were mad with the guy that shot the guy. They were mad with him. Like they were like, why did you do that? Now there's going to be retaliation. Like, why did you shoot him? And like there was like a whole discussion happening while these people were like huddled in the stream waiting to see if they got killed too. So it's like I don't really, like, so when you get these loggers going in there, it's like, yo, we'll pay you to protect the rainforest, and like you don't have to do this. You don't have to be going into these areas that are that dangerous. So yeah, so at this point now, though, through all of this, though, we've established jungle keepers. We have 50,000 acres. We're trying to do 300,000 acres. And if we can do that, we'll basically be helping to establish one of the largest protected areas in the Amazon rainforest, which will encompass these uncontacted people. And they can stay uncontacted and they can stay safe and do whatever they want to do in the jungle, guarding the secret pyramids and the giant ground sloths or whatever the hell it is that they do. But we're close.
Now, how many uncontacted tribes are they aware of?
I think there's like over 100 different groups across the Amazon.
Wow.
There's also varying degrees of, and the other thing is the conversation so often gets turned to like they're violent, and that they're people that live out in the jungle, and I have no idea how they do it either, because at night we need headlamps. We don't have night vision. All the animals have night vision, so it's like, what do they do that night? They're able to make fire in the jungle at night every day. If I gave you an entire book of matches, me and you, we sat down right now in the jungle. I was like, okay, cool. You got a machete and a book of matches. First one to make fire wins. We couldn't do it. It's wet. Everything is wet. So how are they? What's their? Are they doing bow drill? Are they doing? What are they doing? So
We don't know.
We don't really know. No, we don't know how they do that. We don't know how they stay infection free. We don't know what they do with their old people. We never see old people. We never really see children. And so like they move around, and we see like groups of men on beaches. We see like that picture, that aerial picture where you see like a family group out. That's in turtle season, where you have turtles laying their eggs on the beaches, and the tribes will come out because that's easy food. You just pick up turtle eggs and eat them. But there's so much that we don't know about their lifestyle. And like people get so many things wrong. Just, if you leave them alone, then they won't kill you. If then people go, oh, they're Stone Age tribes. And it's like, well, they're not Stone Age tribes because they're alive right now. And you couldn't live out in the jungle, but they can.
Right.
So it's like there's elements of their botanical knowledge, their medicinal knowledge, their creation myths, their view of history. I mean, they're coming at reality from a whole different perspective than we are.
Wow. And there's really no way to get. Does anyone speak their language? Do we know what language they all speak? Is it universal? Do they have different languages?
It's not universal, and there was someone in our region who captured a child from the Uncontacted, raised him in a very remote community, and people have tried, anthropologists have tried, they've been like, hey, so what was it like when you grew up? And it's dark. He's just like, I don't remember. Like no one's been able to get any information out of him.
How old was he when they captured him?
I think like 6. Like under 10 for sure.
Does he not remember? Or does he just not want to talk about it?
I don't know. There's all these underlying stories. Oh man, yeah. There's just. Then last year, some loggers went to a place they shouldn't have gone, and they got whacked. And sort of like the WhatsApp underground in Peru. Like everyone was sending each other pictures because one of the cops sent to his family a picture of what the bodies looked like on like day 6, laying on the beach with arrows in them and shit. And it was like, oh my god. It was like this. It makes you stay in bed at night. You're just like, I am not going out.
Jesus.
But I mean, yeah, it's a complicated topic because there's people that want to contact them. There's people that want to leave them alone. And then, of course, there's missionaries that are like, they need the Bible.
What did you think about Lost City of Z?
I loved the book. I wanted more from the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's only so much time and
Yeah.
Hollywood fuckery.
Oh, God. The book was fantastic. And that guy was out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett. But the fact that he could go on those expeditions and not get infected.
Mm-hmm.
I've been brutally let me show you. I'll show you this picture. I don't think there's any way of pulling this up, but
oh my god!
The jungle just gets into your skin.
Oh, what is that on your face?
MRSA infection. It started.
Oh.
It started mosquito bites, and then I would scratch, and then you don't realize you're spreading it with your fingernails, and you go like this and shit. And then, I almost died from that. But I was staying in the jungle to take care of an anteater. But it's like,
how did you get free of that? If you're in the jungle, did you use antibiotics?
Go home.
You just go home.
I had to go home at that point. I remember I got to JFK, and the guy, he looked down at my passport. He goes, "Yeah, what were you doing in Peru?" And then he looked up at me and he goes, "Buddy, what the fuck?" And I was like, "I'm just trying to get it." And he stamped it. He was like, "Go, go, 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 go." He's like, "Go to the doctor." I can't believe they let me through.
Right, you could have been infected with some crazy plague.
Could have had monkey Ebola.
Yeah.
It looked bad, and I spent days in the hospital. It was really, really bad. But for Percy Fawcett to not, they would say other people would be dying. There was somebody, I think the guy's name was Murray. He came from the Shackleton XP. He'd already been out with Shackleton, so he was like, "I'm a real explorer," and he didn't last any time with Fawcett, because Percy Fawcett was just like, "You can't keep up, go die. You can go die with the mules." He just wouldn't stop. So my question is like, did he go out and eventually get killed, or did he eventually go out and like find the tribe that made him their king and just?
There's no knowledge.
There's no
right?
knowledge of it.
Yeah, no one really knows what happened to him.
And they
right?
said in that book that over 100 people have died looking for him since he left. Because then the other expeditions that have gone out, all of those have died too.
So the village that we were staying with, the guys informed me that now way up the river, 30 miles or so, there was an area that I would love to have collected in, but I couldn't because it was controlled by a group of Yanomamo that had shot at everybody who had ever gotten near there and, shot arrows. And so I was afraid to go up there to do any collecting. But then our group of Yanomamo informed me that these guys had gone off on a raid to attack another group and probably wouldn't be back for a couple of months. So I got brave and went up into their area where I didn't think they were going to be with a young man, Venezuelan, who worked for me. And we had just parked our dugout canoe on the bank and had gone out into the woods to set nets for bats when we hear 100 or so, maybe not 100, but a goodly number of Yanomamo men coming down the trail. And we immediately thought, oh my God, we're going to be absolutely dead ducks if they find us. But I did know that they don't usually go after their quarry. They usually wait in ambush. So we hid out in the jungle until about 2 o'clock in the morning and then tried turning our lights really dim and sneaking along without making any noise to get back to our canoe and hoping they were asleep. And we'll never know whether they were asleep or not because we did get shoved off and got away. But the very next night, we were stupid enough to think we had gone far enough away that they wouldn't find us, and we went back and tried to net again. And then we heard jaguar noises. And I had a Yanomamo and a Maikitari Indian working for me, and they immediately started warning me, that's not El Tigre. That's the Indians that we're trying to avoid. And
They're just making jaguar noises.
Right, to communicate among themselves.
Oh, wow.
But I insisted. I thought that these guys were just trying to get out of work because I'd been working them pretty hard and that they wanted to go to bed early that night. So I didn't really take them very seriously. And I went off with my shotgun. Back then we were collecting everything from jaguars to mice. And so in those days it was a big macho thing to shoot a jaguar. So I go off with my shotgun to hunt the jaguar, and it kept moving too fast without noise in between, and I finally dawned on me that, hey, this is more like Indians than jaguars to me even. I went back, and my guys were just ready to actually abandon me and leave me. They were so scared.
Oh, no.
We didn't even take the nets down. We got out of there as fast as we could, went back to camp, and the next day when we came back to get our nets, all the main strands of the nets had been stolen, proving that these were Indians that were after us. And we probably just got out in time.
Woo! So that's the most danger you've ever been in.
I don't know. I mean, there was the time I was crawling into a cave and on my belly in a narrow passage, and all of a sudden found that there was a big cobra coming out, and I had to lay perfectly still so that the cobra didn't get upset while he was going by.
So you had to lay perfectly still while the cobra slithered by you?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And there was the time the river bandits came after us.
River bandits, where was that?
That was in Venezuela on the Costa Chiari Canal. We're getting into stories that probably ought to be told at another time when we're not distracting from bats, but
No, they're fun. We could go back to bats.
to put a long story shorter, the Costa Chiari Canal is the world's longest natural canal, and out in the middle of it, there are just no humans around. And we were camped out there collecting for the Smithsonian. But I carried a lot of small cash to do business when I did come to where there were villages. the small cash was hidden in false bottoms of trunks. The way I got the cash, we were funded through a military grant, and anybody that knows anything about the military knows they've got every restriction under the sun on their money and accounting for it. I had known that their rules weren't going to work very well for collecting, and so I had gotten bids from plane charter companies to fly us out to this remote savannah, and they were going to charge a lot of money because it was risky to the planes, and so I got the military to send the money to the Bank of America in Caracas, and then this was time when you had machine guns at the door of every bank, and I mean it was a dangerous time in Venezuela, period. Well, we pretended to change Christmas gifts, and that's how we got our money into small change and took it back to our hotel. Then we put it in false bottoms of trunks. Then we go out to the frontier, and after a while the word kind of gets around that these guys can always pay for something. They must have some secret supply of money. So one day we're out at this remote camp, and my Venezuelan helpers, Indians, came running up saying, oh, you know, in Spanish, cuidado, the not vandals, but the robbers are coming. And they were coming up the river in a little motorized dugout. And so that's how my guys heard them in time to know that they were coming, and then they saw them and realized who they were. And so I had just a couple minutes. It's kind of interesting because I was reared to be a conscientious objector, and you know, didn't believe in fighting in war. And so here we are with the bandits coming, armed with shot. It was kind of interesting. They had old muzzleloader guns that they actually used rocks and black powder still to shoot. But here they're coming, and I'm responsible for 8 or 10 people, their lives. And am I going to be a conscientious objector, or what am I going to do? And so I broke out all the guns we had, gave everybody one of the, you know, everything from an M1 rifle to a couple double-barreled shotguns, pistols, and got everybody positioned behind rocks and logs. And then as the bandits approached, I yelled down to them in Spanish that we understood who they were, and if they touched that rock, we were going to kill them. And they kept coming. And so I finally had everybody show themselves and their guns and yelled one more time. And the last time I yelled, they were within a meter of hitting the bank. And at that point, we'd have had to kill them.
Whoa.
But they finally, at the last minute, when they saw they were outgunned and that we had the upper hand, they backed up and went off.
That ought to be hair-raising.
It was.
Ooh.
But I learned a lot about my conscientious objector ideas.
You're ready to abandon it.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to let good people die just because you don't believe in firing a gun at a human?
Yeah, that's a good point, right?
Yeah.
A very important lesson to learn, right?
Yeah, it was an important one for me.
Boy, you've had some pretty amazing experiences just studying bats around the world. It's been a wild life, I bet, huh?
Well, I've never chosen to get myself into big adventures, but
The adventures chose you.
one of my all-time favorite things to do is to go places where almost nobody's ever been. Like when I went out to see the Shamatari Indians, I had to hike 46 miles across country from the last Yanomama village to get out there and see them. And I just went out there. I mean, I knew it was dangerous. How dangerous, I didn't know, but I just was driven by curiosity. Here's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see a group of people that have only seen 2 other outsiders in their whole existence. And it was just so much fun going out there and experiencing that kind of thing. But I certainly got into high adventure while I was out there.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So you got to hike. How long did it take you to hike 46 miles to get to them?
Well, we did it in a day and a half. I had a 40-some pound pack. We went extra fast because I did not know when we started on the trip that the reason these 2 Shamatari came out to visit our Yanomamo group because they were looking for allies in a battle. They're expecting to be raided by another tribe.
Whoa.
And I didn't know this is why they were there. But when I asked through my interpreters, and let me point this out too, when you watch a movie and they're speaking pidgin English, there's no such thing as a place where people are really Aboriginal and you're speaking pidgin English to them. Everything I said on that whole trip out there had to be translated by me from English to Spanish, and then from Spanish to Maikitari, from Maikitari to Yanomamo, and from Yanomamo to Shamatari.
Oh, my God.
You can imagine there are a few miscommunications.
Oh, my God.
So,
what year was this? This was happening?
This was 1967.
Okay, so clearly there's no cell phones, no other ways of communicating.
Right.
Wow.
So we did not know that these guys were expecting an attack until we had already left with them to go out to their village.
Oh, boy.
And what we eventually found was that the reason they welcomed us so strongly was that they thought we'd bring our bang sticks with us, meaning guns, and be good in the battle.
Oh, boy.
And so by the time we got there, we found out that we had to camp out along the trail the first night, and we found out that they were expecting an attack. My 2 guys, I had to have a Yanomamo and a Maikitari for the translations to go. And incidentally, they knew enough that they wouldn't go. I had a terrible time getting them to go. When I finally convinced them, I had to pay them a month's wages for every day they went out there with me. So that first night, we set up camp by a beautiful stream in the jungle, and then my guys got really suspicious when our 2 Shamatari hosts went off by themselves quite a ways away in a hidden place in the jungle to put up little shelters for their night. And so they got suspicious, went and checked, and found that they were worried about being attacked. And they were leaving us out on the trail to be the bait. Oh. And but the next day we arrived out there, and my Maikitari guide had experienced, he had been in a Yanomamo village during an attack once. And so since we knew they were thinking of being attacked any time, he instructed me what to do if we were attacked. And he said, right off, play dead. And we were thinking that the attack might come at night. And sure enough, the very first night we're there, I mean, talk about scary experiences. Long before we thought we were being attacked, there were people that had malaria, and there were guys getting really high on drugs to chase the hikura, the devils, out. And they were going around
the devils out?
Right.
What do you mean?
They believed that everything was attributable to spirits.
Even malaria?
Yeah. There were good spirits and bad spirits. They hadn't evolved to think of one God and one devil. There were just a lot of spirits with good ones and bad ones. And they were trying to chase the bad ones out of the village by getting high on dope and then shooting those curare-tipped arrows at the hallucinated images.
What drugs were they getting high on?
Eben. It's a powder that I'm trying to think they make it from a vine, I believe.
And what is the psychedelic substance in this drug?
They blow it up their noses.
Oh, okay.
If you go to my website, there's a place on the website where you can I'm trying to remember. We can tell you later exactly how to get to it. But I've got a place on my website where you can actually see that trip. Me out there with, I had a movie camera with me. You can see them blowing the dope up their nose, and I've got it on film right up until the guy tried to attack and kill me.